Hey everybody, welcome back to Church Talk, where we talk about everything involving the local church. My name is Rob, and today we're going to be talking about which is better, modern or traditional. Now, when we take a look at style of churches, I mean, let's take a look at the modern church first. A lot of times with a modern church, you think of modern being big, concert like, bunch of lights, smoke machines, fog machines, hype. When we look at modern, we really need to look at really what is modern. I think there's a misconception that modern means big and concert feel, where in reality, most churches you attend today, I would say they lean more on the modern side of things. Um, a lot of times with the modern feel, it's just kind of an update with today's culture as far as the colors, the color scheme, things of that nature. Are there pews? Are there seats? A lot of times it's a preference type of thing. It's not really anything else. But with the modern church, sometimes you can, with the larger church anyway, you can feel a little bit lost in the crowd. Um, so yeah, with the modern feel, a lot of people who don't like a modern church, they don't like the modern music, they don't like the feel of it, and that's okay. A lot of that, like I said, comes down to a personal preference. But modern does not mean large. I think our church um, kind of fits into the modern traditional. I think it's more of a mix. I think a good healthy church will be a mix. And when we look at modern versus traditional, a lot of times we think of we're talking about the music. Where that's I'm going to cover that in a different video. Be watching for that coming up, where I'm going to be looking at the differences between modern worship music and traditional hymnals. So that's coming in another video. But today we're talking about the church in general. So if we look at the modern church, yeah, they're taking new methods of ministry and putting it into the message. If you're changing the message, then I don't think that is the church that I'm referring to. That's not a part of the Church of Jesus Christ. I think if we're changing the message, then we've got it wrong, and we have separated ourselves from the true capital C church. But when we are not straying from the message, but we are changing our methods, then I think that's okay. And a lot of times that will fall into the modern type of church. Now, if we look at the traditional style of church, many times we look at traditional as our mindset goes to something that's older, something that is aged, something that is dated. The church itself is dated. They have pews, and they're small. But I think that's another misconception of a traditional church, is that there are a lot of traditional churches that are large. They're huge churches, and they're very traditional. And sometimes, just the how we do our lighting will fall into that. If we're a modern church, and a lot of times our lights will be a little bit more dim, um, so that what's on stage will kind of pop to people. And a lot of times our traditional churches, there is no dim lighting. Everything is well lit. The stage is well lit, but the congregation's well lit. So I think a lot of times it really comes down to a culture. So which one is better? I don't think there is one that's better. I don't think one is over the other or one is less than the other. I think it really comes down to your personal preference of what, who you are, because what you are and who you are, your style is going to come out in what you're doing. And so if you're a musician and you're on a worship team and your style is more country, then that's going to come out in your style of music and really probably where you end up playing music. So if your style is more of a country style, then you'll probably end up finding a worship team that kind of sounds more on the country style. And there's nothing wrong with that. If your style is more of a rock and roll style, then you'll probably end up finding a worship team, finding a church that has a worship team that has a little bit more of that feel to it, a little bit more of that style. And there's nothing wrong with either one. But I think when we get it wrong is when we start looking at the other and think that we're better than they are, or that they're better than us because of whatever. I think comparison is of the enemy, and we should not compare each other. So really, when it comes down to it, when you start looking at me versus them or them versus me, then we start this competition thing, which is not healthy, and we don't need to do that. So when we bring it back down to modern or traditional, which is better? My answer: don't compare. Don't compare the two, because if both of them are preaching the word and both of them are worshiping the Lord, we're all part of the same church. It's like my right hand and my left hand. They're both the same thing. They're hands, but they're made exactly opposite. They made up together. They work perfectly together, but they're different. Just like the modern and the traditional, there's going to be some things that the modern day church really strive in, and they do it very well. And there's going to be some things that the traditional style church thrives in and does really well. And if we come together and do this together, we're going to have a good message of the gospel. We're going to see that, yeah, there's culturally different things that we're going to do in the modern church versus the traditional church, versus any other type of church that may be out there. But you know, hey guys, just a quick break from the video. Just want to say thank you for watching. And if this is the type of content that you like, make sure that you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the bell so you'll be notified when I upload new videos, and make sure you give it a like so that YouTube will continue to push this content on out to others. And one more thing, head over to robandjen.com/church talk. You can find like the t-shirt I'm wearing, the mug that we have. Enough of that, now back to our video. When we start to compare each other and say which one's better, I think that's where we're going to get things wrong. That's where we're going to start to look at ourselves and think that we are higher than somebody else, or we're going to come up short. Either way, that's not healthy. So, guys, stop comparing yourselves and stop comparing your churches. Stop comparing each other. Now, yeah, I think we can look at what other people are doing and learn from it. I think that is great. That's healthy. We need to do that. But be careful that when you look up to another church that is bigger, or they have a bigger budget and your budget's not the same, you say, well, we just can't do that. We're not that good. That's not true. It's not that you're not that good. It's that everybody's on a different place, a different level, everybody's different. And when we compare, then we tend to think, well, I'm not as good as, or they're not as good as. So we go two different directions. We're either we think that we're something, high and mighty. We think we're a holier than thou type of mentality, which I hate that phrasing, but you understand what I'm saying. Or we come up thinking less of ourselves than what we should. And so therefore we feel like we're never good enough, when the Bible tells us that we're the head, not the tail, that we are to hold our head up high. We are to encourage one another. And when we compare which church is better, we shouldn't do that. We should be lifting each other up. And if you are going to a traditional style church and you are taking part in worship, you're receiving the word, that's awesome. Keep going, keep supporting them. If you're going to a modern style church and you are participating in worship and you are receiving of the word, that's awesome. Keep going, keep supporting them. And we need to come together, and it doesn't really matter the style, but it matters who we're worshiping and what the gospel is. And if you are listening to the gospel and you are proclaiming the gospel of Jesus Christ and you are worshiping Him, then it doesn't matter the style. It takes all styles, because I believe the Lord has created it all. He's created all music, all things for Himself. All of it is to the Lord and for the Lord. So Find the church that you not just find the church that you enjoy, because sometimes the enjoyment is you just kind of lay back and they'll tell you, just encourage you and tell you how good you are, and that then there's nothing about the Lord, and there's nothing about His Word, and there's nothing about growth. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just the preference and the style of the church. There are some churches out there that I would say, yeah, if the word's not being preached, then get out. If you're in a church, modern or traditional, and the word is being preached on, and we're praying for people to be healed, to be delivered, to be saved, and we're worshiping the Lord, then hey, we're in a good church. No matter if it's a church of 25 people, 65 people, or 2,000 people or more. The size doesn't matter, and the pews doesn't matter, and the name on the door shouldn't matter. We need to support our churches. We need to support each other. And if you are here's a challenge out there to everybody, every ministry leader. If you are involved in a modern day church, link up with the traditional church. If you are a leader of a traditional church, link up with a modern church and do something together and bring the two together and stop the back and forth of which one's better, or you guys got this wrong, or whatever. It's a preference thing. So go to your preferred type of church. If you enjoy hymnals and you worship the Lord through hymnals, then hey, do it. Worship Him. If you find yourself you're singing to modern worship songs, and that's just kind of that's how you worship the Lord, then hey, go to the modern style. Neither one is right or wrong. I think they can both be right or wrong, but neither one is better than the other one. So that's my take on which one's better, modern or traditional. It's up to you. It's your choice. Neither one is better than the other. Guys, thank you guys for watching Church Talk. We will see you guys again the next time. God bless.